Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur, and welcome to part 2 of our Day Uber Dies trilogy. Tentatively. Who knows what today is going to lead after I upload these videos. But today is the day Uber dies. And we are going to talk about the second article, and even though it's the second one, it's going to probably be the longest. And it's close to the most damning thing that happened, but not quite. We're going to get to the third story in a moment. And so, we are going to. There's this article by the Wall Street Journal, and I will link to it below. But one of the things that's going to make this the longest video is that we have to read the entire thing. And I know people hate it when I do this, and I hate doing it too. But we need to fully read it. We need to understand exactly what is being said to understand how serious this is. And the title of the article is Uber Lawyer Says Ex-Employee's Payout Was an Extortionist Move. Judge Disagrees. And we are going to read it. This is where I really wish I could have it scroll for you guys. I really wish I could. But, I just can't. So then, demands by a former Uber Technologies Inc. employee, Rick Jacobs, who was granted $4.5 million this year in a settlement agreement over his claims about the company's secrecy measures, were, quote, clearly extortionist, unquote, said one of Uber's top attorneys Wednesday. Quote, given the huge sums of money that Mr. Jacobs was demanding at the outset, I felt it was clearly extortionist, especially given the low value of his claims, unquote, said Angela Padilla, Uber's deputy general counsel, testifying at a hearing in federal court related to Google parent company Alphabet Inc.'s suit against Uber over trade secrets allegedly stolen from Alphabet's Waymo unit, which is developing self-driving cars. That's a mouthful. But the judge challenged Ms. Padilla's claims regarding Mr. Jacobs' demands. Quote, people don't pay that kind of money for BS, he said. They certainly don't hire them as consultants for BS, unquote. Mr. Jacobs has been retained by Uber to help investigate his own claims in conjunction with law firm Wilmer Cutler Pickering Hale and Dorr LLP. Ms. Padilla's testimony follows the disclosure Tuesday of a 37-page letter written by Mr. Jacobs' former attorney to Uber management, stating that the ride-hailing firm took extraordinary measures to evade regulatory scrutiny, including the use of disappearing messages, training for employees on how to dodge legal discovery, and the creation of a team devoted to obtaining trade secrets. Ms. Padilla said Uber had shown the letter to the U.S. Attorney's Office over the summer, as well as to prosecutors for the Southern District of New York and Northern District of California. Former Chief Executive Travis Kalanick also viewed the letter, according to Ms. Padilla. But attorneys for Alphabet's Waymo didn't see the letter until this month, when the U.S. Attorney's Office supplied it to U.S. District Judge William Alsup of San Francisco, who was presiding over the case. Ms. Padilla confirmed in testimony that Uber also paid $3 million to Mr. Jacobs' lawyer, Clayton Holland, of Holland Law, in order to help cover his fees. But the size of the payment was the result of a negotiation with the attorney, Ms. Padilla said. The payments to Mr. Jacobs and his attorney were meant to defray the cost of litigation for Uber, which Ms. Padilla said could add up to nearly $15 million, in addition to reputable damages. Of course. Mr. Jacobs would have to pay his money back for disclosure of his letter or for making disparaging remarks about Uber, according to terms of his agreement read aloud by a Waymo attorney to the court. I think that $5 million. I'm sorry. quick comment. I don't think that 5 million is that important to Uber right now. They've got much bigger things to worry about than that. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to refrain from commenting until this is over. But, ooh, it's hard. This is a hard one. The letter's existence surfaced days before the scheduled start of Uber's blockbuster trial with Alphabet's Waymo and threw it into turmoil, causing Judge Alsop to delay the case for a second time to February 5th. So I've got my calendars marked, so should you. He said that Uber has not been forthright in its disclosure, including the letter itself, and he needed to grant Waymo more time to prepare for trial. In addition to his comments challenging her remarks regarding Mr. Jacobs, Judge Alsop also chastised Ms. Padilla for what he said were Uber's efforts to conceal the letter which Mr. Jacobs' attorney wrote and supplied to Uber, and to keep it out of the hands of Waymo attorneys. Quote, "It appears that you covered it up. It just doesn't add up. You wanted this to go to trial, so Waymo didn't have the benefit of the document," he also added, unquote. Ms. Padilla said that, in retrospect, she should have supplied the letter to Waymo attorneys. "I take responsibility for that," she said. What? She said Mr. Jacobs was transferring sensitive files from his work computer to his personal email, which is prohibited by the company. At that point, Mr. Jacobs sent an email to several senior leaders, including Mr. Kalanick, detailing some of his grievances, and he resigned soon after, Ms. Padilla said. Mr. Jacobs' current lawyer, Martha Borsch, I think that's her name, said she was quite surprised by the Uber attorney's comments Wednesday because, quote, "Mr. Jacobs' concerns about conduct at Uber have in fact been taken seriously by Uber, which is investigating and which referred those concerns to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Mr. Jacobs is an honorable and honest man who found some conduct at Uber ethically troubling and potentially illegal, and he reported it," she said. "That does not make him an extortionist," unquote. And here's the final line, the one that makes me just... A spokesperson for Mr. Kalanick, the former CEO, declined to comment. Let's pause and let's really think about this, because so yeah, wow, there's just so much. There is so much to discuss. I might have to edit some of the dead space here, folks. Maybe I won't. I don't know, but oh boy. Yeah, let's go up to this one, because this is so the gist of this is that this letter that we all know about this letter, by the way. We know this is the letter that detailed that some very unethical and in many cases illegal things that Uber was doing, and including things about private messengers, a department developed solely for seeking out trade secrets, and yeah, just all this unethical behavior that, using tactics so that they could avoid the law and not get tracked if they got caught. It was a 37-page letter. A 37-page letter. And we now know that the letter was first handed over to Uber themselves. Sorry, I have a little itch here. And Uber had a legal obligation to present this letter to the courts. In fact, because this is evidence. this could be considered evidence. And here's the thing, had they turned it over, there is definitely a possibility a jury may have found that this was just a disgruntled employee, that it had no merit, that you couldn't prove it, especially since, the whole thing about private messengers and stuff. Hey, that's a science fiction thing. There's no way to actually prove that one. Don't worry. We're going to get to that in the next video. But Uber was caught covering up a data breach. Now, I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself from a couple videos ago, but it's true. They were caught covering up a data breach. Travis Kalanick has been caught lying. They are in this mess because they hired someone who worked for the opposition, downloaded files on his personal hard drive, showed them to Travis Kalanick, and Kalanick admitted that they had them. He said they should destroy them, that he was forbidden from actually using them. But he chose to get into business with someone who had the blueprints to fully functioning autonomous cars, provided they're in, an enclosed city, and, yada. I'm still not sold on them. And that's not going to change. And all of this means that then you have an employee who comes along, 37-page letter. This is not just some little concern. This is a full-on grievance with the company. A full-on grievance with the company. And yet, they hid it. They hid it. And who was the one who handed over the letter? Let's see here. Oh yeah. Here it is. And then Mr. Jacobs, the guy who wrote the letter, his former attorney, turns over the letter to... Oh, hold on. Maybe that's wrong. I am sorry. That was wrong. Apparently, the letter was shown to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And what happens? The U.S. Attorney's Office hands the letter to the judge of the case. And he discovers this letter. And then he asks, why was this hidden? Why didn't you say anything about this? Were you trying to cover this up? And Uber's response is, oh, it was a BS claim. It didn't mean anything. It's not evidence. Trust us. There was nothing in that report that was damning. And, it's just nothing there. And the judge, is kind of looking at him like, do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I'm that stupid? What we have here is someone who brought over a grievance. You paid him $4.5 million to keep quiet about it. You then paid his lawyer $3 million to not show the letter to anyone, which at that point it was too late. Apparently the Attorney General's office already had it. You don't pay this kind of money if it's not real. You don't pay this kind of money if there's nothing to it. And, you just don't. And so, he tells Uber, I still don't trust you. I don't trust a damn thing you've said. You have not been honest with me once throughout this entire trial. Not once. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, not 5, not 6. Not once have you been honest. And, yeah. So then the lawyer has to basically take the blame, because that's what you do in these big corporations. It's my fault. I shouldn't have done it in hindsight. Oh yes, in hindsight, you should have. You should have, because by covering this up, and it coming out now of all times. Here's the thing. Had this letter come out before the data breach, the letter might have been dismissed. Truly, the letter might have been dismissed, and by the time that the breach hit, they might have forgotten about it. Because who has time to read a 37-page letter? I certainly don't. And you're talking to someone who this summer blew through the entire Song of Fire and Ice series, aka A Game of Thrones, from February to September. Over 7,000 pages. In some days I would read 80 pages a day. That's not nothing. And I wouldn't have time to read this letter. I bet you the judge wouldn't. And it would have been forgotten. But no, they hit it. And then the U.S. Attorney General, after this data breach comes out, and this, admittingly, this might be the Attorney General wanting some revenge. I think someone over there was just tired of Uber getting away with it. Remembered we had this letter that was delivered to us, and we made a copy of it. Didn't think much of it, but now this has come up, and so we gave it to the judge, and now the judge is like, the heck is this? The heck is this? You cannot be serious. You can't be serious. Like, they're actually doing this again. They are actually doing this again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And we're going to end here, but we're going to continue into the net part 3. And this is where it's going to come to a head, and what you're going to find out why this trilogy of series has the subtitle, The Day Uber Died. Because the Uber lawyers have claimed nothing in this letter is true. We did not steal secrets. We did not have a department dedicated to stealing secrets. And we did not have messenger systems that could not be traced to Uber with the sole purpose of exchanging information. Remember that last one, because that claim was going to bite them big time.